Airsoft guns. We can rebuild them. We have the skills. We can make them stronger, faster, and better than they were before.
Hey guys, welcome back to Airsoft Extreme Tech Tips. I'm Jeremy. Today we're going to be talking about how to take apart the SLR105 AK by Classic Army. The reason why I chose to do this video is because in the last video I got a few comments on other AKs and how to take them apart. This one, there's a few more steps how to take this one apart rather than the steel version AK. I rate this probably a 4 out of 10 on the gear scale, just because there's more steps into taking this particular model apart. Tools I'm going to be using is a Phillips screwdriver, jeweler's Phillips screwdriver, flathead, and a 3mm hex wrench. Now remember, if you do any kind of modifications or upgrades yourself, you will void your warranty. Unless you're really sure and know what you're doing and everything, I would bring it to an Airsoft Extreme technician. Alright, so let's get started. The reason why I didn't show you the tools on the last one is because I use this in the shop a lot. It eliminates tools that are all over your desk. This is a Craftsman multi-bit tool. You can remove the bits on it and everything to use for, you know, whatever you're gonna use it on. I've had this thing since I've started here almost 9 years ago, and it's been a good tool thus far. So you can get this at Sears. There you go. So anyways, let's get started on how to take this apart. I usually remove the plate first because you have to manipulate the wires a little bit, and it's easier to manipulate the wires when you take this plate off. This is also how you get into the stock to put your battery in there. Should pop off. You can get a flathead, kind of wedge it in there, pry that off, and there you are. So usually what I do first is, once again, move the tray, push the button, the back right here moves the tray, and then from here there's two small Phillips that you're going to be using your jewelers for. There's one right here. You can see it in the picture, and there's also one that holds this bar in that moves. It's easier to move the hop-up unit to hop it up, basically. So pop this guy out. There's the screw. And then there's the lever. All right, next, move this other Phillips screw. And there you go. So, kind of like the steel version, you push the bar for the fake bolt off of this button, basically, and it just pops right out. Okay, unlike the steel version, this one, to get the receiver from the barrel assembly off, you have to remove these 4 screws. One thing I forgot to mention is that the G&G, unlike the Simas and some of the other, like the Tokyo Ruis and everything, whatnot, these screws right here remove the receiver from the barrel, although the G&G comes apart the same way, except these 4 screws are on the inside, and you'll see them. And unfortunately, I don't have one to demonstrate. So remove these guys. Remember, when putting this back together, the screws are, as I'll show you, different lengths. The longer ones go in the front, shorter ones in the back. It's the way this is set up. If you put the longer ones in the back, they won't seat in all the way. So you kind of learn the hard way, just future reference. So from there, be careful when you're doing this. Once again, if you force it out and whatnot, you can actually break the nozzle. So you just gently slide it apart. It comes apart really easily. One thing to watch out for is this spring right here. This spring basically pushes on the bar of the charging handle. Basically, it pushes up against, or it pushes the bar, which holds the button into place. If you're missing that spring, and the spring has a lot of tension behind it, but if you're missing that spring, that button won't seat your tray back on, or the top cover back on properly. So just future warning, just watch out for it. So next, is to remove the pistol grip with the flathead. Get that guy out. Next is the selector switch with a 3mm hex wrench. Pops out pretty easily. Now you can do this two ways. I usually remove the stock. It's just easier because, and I'll show you how it works out here. Those are the there's 3 flatheads that hold it into place. Now sometimes you can remove this. It's just easier to remove it, and I'll show you why. There you go, and the stock comes off. So like I was saying, you can potentially get the mech box with the stock on, and when you remove this, you could pull this connection through and then undo it that way, but it's a pain to do it, and it's also a pain to put it back together. So anyways, that being said, remove the plug, set the stock aside, and that's that. Once again, be careful. These cams right here can come apart, but then, once again, I'm going to talk about that in another video on how to take down the AK mech box. That's this edition of Tech Tips. I'm Jeremy. Have a good day.